Welcome back, guys. How you doing? Morning, good evening, good afternoon. All right, so a bit of news. A legacy bank worth $43 trillion in BNY Mellon has entered the crypto market. We'll be talking about a couple of other things in the news. But before we do that, let's get to the charts. Bitcoin, the 1 hour. Yeah, so unfortunately, we followed this trend really well. We pretty much topped off really close to 20,000 at 19,960. Right now we have an immediate downside break for the 1 hour at 50%. So we have this stretched out power band here, and volatility is really low, but synchronicity weighing really heavy on buy. So with this price gappage, I think we could see in the immediate term this breakdown flip. So you're looking to pop back up, possibly into this lip channel here, and looks like we have a third on the speed fan forming out really nicely. I don't think that it's likely though to break above this 20,000, so we're likely to just follow a behavior pattern here, and this interval is pretty widespread in about a day and a half. So you're looking for a rounded off bottom and probably falling right back on top of this trend here at a slightly lower level. But slightly lower levels will take us underneath 8,900 or 18,900. So I think what's going to really happen, what's actually going to happen here is we trend sideways for a little bit at 19,200 or so. And given the range based on the quartiles, which are extremely low deviation right now, I'm looking for a new initial balance forming out based on our total price readouts, which is a minor spread at 19,100 to 19,390. So bottom part of this channel on our new initial balance will be 18,675. Top side of this coming down a little bit to 19,800. But you're more likely to pop right above this pressure that's building and come back down inside of it. And the lower end of this is 18,700 within the next couple of days. That sounds pretty bad. I don't think it's going to get that bad. However, if we continue to spread out here on our strength and synchronicity really weighing to one side right now, if it spreads out a little bit, you could see how this could really easily turn red for at least a full day. So again, next couple of days, you're looking at possibly challenging the 18,700 mark and building into this pressure. On the upside of this, we trend sideways for a little bit between 19,000. I'll bring this down actually a little bit to give it a tighter, more precise range here at 19,400 and 19,100. BBWP came out of a really strong position here and beginning to normalize our Chaikin volatility, barely beating around the bush on the negative end. And that coupled with our quartiles is giving us a pretty clear indication based on our profitability that we're gonna range in the middle here, because we're gonna really need some strength, and we haven't gotten, you see it's barely trying to show a violation here on the 90th quartiles. So we really need some strength to enter the market, and we got none right now. So nobody really looking to sell off after the initial sell-off here, but this could get red pretty quickly. Solana, yesterday I called for the bottom at $30.15 around there, and did say that we'd be forming a new initial balance. Our total price readout really thin at $29.89 and $30.06. Volatility weighing to one side with synchronicity up on the upside, spreading again thin on our strengths. Not much indication for variation here, and our volatility pretty thin on deviations on the quartiles. Profitability barely over 50% as well. So I think that we can pop back into this channel, but really it's the market just trying to pop back into a normalized channel here where it wants to be at about $30. If Bitcoin stays red for that full day, as we mentioned earlier, you're looking at challenging a new immediate term bottom end $29 range, and quite possibly ranging in this lower channel here for a little bit. Currently, we have a breakout to the upside at 52%. Our past 10 hours on these past 10 bars here are giving us a pretty wide spread, though, despite some small dispersion or deviation differences. We're at the first quartile right now. We're at current bar, so we're on the upside too on a breakout. I think that this might flip here for the immediate term. For the next couple of days, again, for Solana, looking at challenging this bottom end of the $29 mark. That's being a bit conservative. Most likely, we're going to range inside this bottom 29, bottom $30 range. The nice sunshiny view on this is giving us, I'm going to give it at a support from quite a while back at $31.20. So new range here, somewhat of a new initial balance at the lower end of the $30 mark. Veracity, susceptible to that sell-off. Everything else widening out, extremely low volatility. Synchronicity pretty even though. Profitability barely 50%, just under 49%. Overall downside reading out on this trend on Veracity. Volatility and dispersion between quartiles pretty good though on our price marks over the past 90 days, and over the past 5 days our deviations are healthy for Veracity. So we do have a lot of price movement on Veracity, and in this sideways trending market, Veracity could be a good trade as far as swings go. In the immediate term for Veracity, though, we do not have much of a price spread readout on our total price indicator at 37 cents at the top, or 0037 at the top and 00371 at the bottom, so 00374. I take this more or less as an indicator to look at behavior on this one. Almost all of our past 10 bars here have fallen under the third quartile or less. You see a couple of 90s. Currently on the first quartile. We are at the middle of the hour now. So if this breakout to the downside fails, you're looking at possibly forming out a green candle here, and in which case the next candle will probably be a red one. All right, Luna Classic. Not much development news for Luna Classic. Vegas and the Strong 12 have been pretty quiet lately on what's happening natively on Luna Classic chain. We do see every now and then though some dApps popping up on Luna 2.0. So I'd like to see more proof positive building on Luna Classic. We see a diagonal forming out here, and this looks like it's entering in an Elliott zone on Impulse. Pretty clear Impulse zigzag here. We have some flats over longer intervals, so you're looking at possibly actually improving the likelihood that we challenge this 2-3 mark here. But that might not be a bad thing, because again, in this sideways market, giving our dispersion pretty healthy deviation on our quartiles, this price movement could be pretty welcoming for a sideways market. Immediate term on Luna Classic, I think this breakout opportunity is true to the indication. Profitability weighing pretty low, 44% to the downside. We're at the weak side of the strength here. Our machine readout has some gappage, very low volatility and synchronicity overall. So any kind of price change right now could have some trades entering the market here, and you could see some nice fluctuation on price movement. So I think that a good mark to watch out for is a low at 23 in the immediate term, and the next couple of days a high would be again challenging this 28. More likely to bounce off the middle here at 25 in order to touch 28. If we can break 28, you're looking at quite possibly entering back into this middle third of the speed fan, and as we mentioned yesterday, the middle third of this speed fan entry could push us up to 3, so 003 or 0003 for Luna Classic, but that's on the extreme high side at the moment for the next few days. Again, if I wasn't clear, most likely price target for Terra Classic in the next couple of days is 2.5, in the middle of this range at 2.5. Downside is 2.3, upside is 2.8. Injective, downtrend for Injective. I do think that we are cooling off from an initial hype phase, an acquaintance phase, I guess you could put it. So currently we have a breakout opportunity to the upside right now for Injective, but everything's weak. We have our BBWP spreading kind of thin, and our synchronicity, I guess you could call it slightly weighted, but volatility pretty much none, zero, and zero dispersion, really weak deviations. You can see what happens here when you tip the scale on synchronicity, and this is a market-wide trend here with expanding bottoms. So this likely reaching this bottom channel and channeling in it is growing more and more likely by the hour. In the immediate term, I don't think that we fulfill this breakout opportunity to the upside. If we do it, it's based on a behavior trend pattern readout, but I think that we just continue to touch down towards this $1.67 mark, and quite possibly channel in this for the next couple of days if we hit that $1.67 for the next few days. Upside though, upside opportunity is seeing the market turn around here and getting back to a previous support resistance at $1.80, or no, that's $1.70. Where is that? $1.77. We're at it right now. So we could be topping off here and most likely gonna fulfill this initial balance around $1.67 and range between $1.61 and 1.77 for the next 2 to 5 days on Injective. All right, with Serum. So Serum did break down, in fact, and we are at the 70 cents mark, as noted. We would be within the next couple of days, a few days ago. Currently have a breakout opportunity for 56% to the upside. Our last 10 bars on our deviations, currently at a 1 quartile on our current volume bar. Pretty good dispersion across our deviations overall, which is nice to see. Some price movement for Serum. Lower end, pretty weak strength here. Synchronicity, no weight to either side. Some price gappage on our machine learner. So mixed with our profitability at 54%, looking at our trend, we're following trend pretty nicely, but we're in the middle of our current channel here at top side 72, bottom side 68. So right in the middle. I think that we don't fulfill this breakout opportunity to the upside unless the rest of the market follows, which it probably won't. We will continue to head downward towards this 68 mark. But if we do touch down on the 68 mark, you see that we're in the middle of this current speed fan. So we could spread out and continue to head down if market stays red. Bottom side of that being 63 cents. However, I think it's more likely that we continue to top side up here at 72 cents and trade sideways, forming a new smaller range and a new initial balance at a slightly higher level at probably 70 cents. So next couple of days, I think that we trend around 70 cents for Serum, but low side being 68 and top side, extreme top side being 72 cents. So I think the reason for that is that based on our dispersion and our deviations, over the last 90 days plus, and also considering the past 5 days, as well as the past 10-hour bars, I think that current market conditions are indicating that bullishness is kind of spread thin. So with all that in mind, I'm not getting much of a readout other than sideways action on Serum. So Cropper Finance on Solana. I wanted to take a look at this real quick. Given the recent news with Mango and the exploit there, I wanted to start taking a look at different opportunities in DeFi on Solana, and thought it was a good opportunity to kind of look around and get familiar with the DeFi space a little bit better on Solana. And other than the well-known names that we know of, right? Serum, Orca, things like that. I'm not sure who wants to be touching Saber, but Saber should be fine. And Mango. So Mango was the one dealing with the issue with the exploiter. I'll show you guys a little bit of a thing after this on talks with between the exploiter and the DAO. Could possibly lead to a resolution coming soon for Mango users. But as far as Cropper goes, at the moment, flatlining. They have some releases on their launchpad coming out, some NFT type protocols that are token gated and an IDO cell. So synchronicity, almost none, or at least you could say if there is synchronicity, it's that there is an even spread on buys and sells. Our call on profitability though, pretty strong, 60%. So if I'm looking at my trend here, which is parallel really to the top side trend on the spread, even though we have an expanding bottom here, we're zigzagging sideways, and given my deviations over the last 90 days and 5 days and 10-hour bars, look at this. It's really, you know, there's no deviation except for 1/90th percentile. So on this breakout opportunity to the downside, 58%, I think that could easily flip with one single trade. But you're not going to want to rely on one single trade, which if it wasn't going to likely be you. So looking at our strength indicator, I think for the next 1 hour or so, and then also giving a readout for the next couple of days, I do think that there's some upside right now for Cropper. But if you look at the behavior, we've been pushing up this trend pretty strongly in the green here on an interval for the past 2 days. So with that in mind, that comes with extreme risk to think that we're still going to have upside for Cropper here. On the 1 hour, I see a lot of 90th percentile, so it took a lot for this green to continue here. So we could easily break down on the shorter term, but the immediate term on the minute chart, it's showing some signs of bullishness and upside. Next couple of days, overall, I think that we see a little bit more price action for Cropper. However, it's more likely though that we continue to go just trend sideways for Cropper, and that's if these candles kind of dim down on the hour and then on the day charts. That's gonna be a strong indicator for consolidation, or at least proving more consolidation, and that's pretty bullish for Cropper, especially when the DeFi market on Solana in particular comes around. Okay, looking at Mango, so you see this breakout opportunity to the upside at 91% for Mango. So this could actually flip immediately right now. Profitability at 89%. It's been at near 90% all day. And the indicator on our strength is it's now floating up above the top side, and synchronicity dead even almost. Some volatility to consider given the low amount of volume. So right now price is at 25.025. I think that if we get a breakout, you're going to see a few candles, and possibly really nice move up will be touching the top of this trend here at minimum at 26. And most of this buy action is going to come off of the news that's happening right now with the negotiations between the exploiter and the team at Mango. Downside obviously is those negotiations don't work out, or not showing signs of immediate resolution, and that could just be just a complete sell-off here on Mango. All right, DXY. So still in our second candle above 110 mark here. We talked about what happens in history once we get over the 110 mark, which hasn't happened very much in the past. So on a likelihood basis, we're kind of following suit with what's happened before in history. And so trending around in this area, I don't think that we're going to continue to build pressure too much here. However, we could touch this trend line again, but I really don't think that there's much more time left for DXY to continue to satisfy these upsides. I do know that DXY, and I've seen it mentioned by other traders, that DXY continues to satisfy those upsides all the time. So that could be exactly in the cards. We'll see. We'll see. The economy is horrible, and the machine that the U.S. is, and the basket of currencies that DXY manages, to put it lightly, it'll continue to grow. I just don't know if that's feasible as far as what's happening now with global sentiment. All right, so let's jump into the news. All right, so yesterday I mentioned a quick tip on looking at exchange reserves and seeing if you want to make a decision on long-term holds on major coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example. I like to look at exchange reserve, what's happening there, and I do use that as somewhat of an indicator to make a decision on a longer-term hold. And so you see here, though, it's pretty clear that overall, all of crypto is just mostly being held right now, especially as prices kind of coming down. But usually, when things get bad, right, prices come down, you have sell-offs. But the reserves continue to go down. See here for Bitcoin, it's getting lower and lower, continue regularly, and price continues to go down. And we're actually trending sideways now on price for Bitcoin for the past few months, or maybe even arguably several months. But reserves continue to get depleted on Bitcoin, so there's less and less Bitcoin in exchanges every single day. That is a clear indicator of supply crunch. See, same thing with Ethereum, but it's even on a more extreme scale to the downside. This is a clear downhill slope from here on exchanges, just getting bought up off exchanges, and or exchanged and burnt and stuff like that, but you see here Ethereum pretty much gonna touch down and probably exceed eventually this September 8th 2022 exchange reserve low, all-time low, while price continues to tick sideways. So I thought it was really interesting, people calling for people to exchange their base layer currencies like ETH and SOL for USDC or USDT, when USDC exchange was also low and price was low. So value of USDC at that time, when I'm seeing a lot of those bearish sentiment and bearish moods, was about 99 cents. So exchange on a low priced Ethereum or a low priced Bitcoin or a low priced SOL for USDC, while the actual trade coin ETH or SOL was also trending down in price and reserve as well. These are the reasons why I'm bringing these ideas to use, so that you can look at those things first before you follow through with what you hear, and help you decide on how to interpret this information that you're getting. Shiba Inu. So I haven't looked at Shiba for a bit. I'm not really looking at the charts lately on the show, although I check in on my own. Shiba also continuing to slowly be removed from exchanges, continuing to slowly be bought, and at the same time Shiba's also getting burnt. So yeah, while you see math and a little bit of what you might consider FUD against large supply coins like Shiba and Luna Classic, it does have a burn mechanism, and the exchange the amount of supply of it on exchanges is steadily declining. So you have that coupled with the burn. Considering the amount of time that it will take for burns to be effective, you should also consider that we've been in somewhat of a strongly downtrending market for over a year now. And on top of that, you don't have a strong sentiment overall on crypto in the macro. So when those things turn around, because they will, this could easily and quickly be a very different scenario here for coins like Shiba and Luna Classic that have deflationary mechanisms built into the community and ecosystem. And you're showing some really strong strength in the community for desire to hold, regardless of what price is doing. So price goes up and exchange stays the same, continues to come down. Price spikes, continues to come down. Price coming down, continues to come down off exchange. So very interesting. And you do see here though, right, big difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum in that we are still above the all-time low of exchange reserve for Shiba, as where Bitcoin and ETH have continued to form new all-time lows on it, amounts of supply on exchanges. Okay, so BNY Mellon, a legacy bank, $43 trillion value, enters the market. We actually talked about this and highlighted based on some ETF calls that I was making about a month now ago, in that Mellon and Citi and other major financial institutions are joining forces and building their own blockchains or supporting or funding them. And we saw one that was being supported and funded through BlackRock, being Project Ion and Coinbase. So this is really interesting, and not much more needs to be said than this. I mean, the wisest, smartest, and longest lasting major financial players are entering the crypto market. That's extremely, extremely bullish. Crypto.com, interesting news here, invests 145 million in their new headquarters. So this is the kind of news headlines that I was continually seeing when I first got into Kronos a little bit ago. I got into Kronos from around here. I checked back, I mentioned on the Twitter between 0.12 and 0.16, but when I look back at my entry, I actually started buying Crow at 0.09-ish. So from way back in June, and in between June and late July, I have been buying Crow between 0.09 and 0.1456-ish. And that's after fees and stuff. So that's right around from pretty much right here. And I was reading and seeing this kind of news, really kind of hidden, in fact, news on crypto.com, but on most social media circles, Twitter and StockTwits and things like that, everything about Crow was absolutely negative. I was actually seeing more positivity on Voyager, on Cello, and Cody and things like that. And but I did my own research, and I made the decision to buy Crow because everything made sense about Crow to me at the time, at least. And the number one kicker for Crow for me was the customer service. Compared to every other experience that I've ever had in crypto for a very long time, customer service is always typically horrible or non-existent. Crow, it was immediate, and everybody on Crow that works for Crow was actually surprisingly responsive, and more than not, 9 out of 10 times, really helpful and easy to work with and speak to, and resolve most matters fairly quickly. There's been some incidents as far as like being able to withdraw or downtime, but relatively speaking, and compared to what I've seen others experience and go through with other platforms, it's nothing. It's a far cry for crypto.com. So that was a pretty decent decision that I believe that I made at the time. You see here, that was at the foot of the mountain here for this massive pump. So again, look into it, do your own research before you, a lot of people it's a lot of talk. So you want to find the right resources that are giving you the right tools and providing you the right opportunity and presenting you the right opportunities on tools and giving you the confidence to look at those tools properly, right? And make your own decisions confidently. So Binance, $500 million Bitcoin mining lending pool. This is huge. CZ continues to impress here. This is massive. This is really important since a lot of miners are struggling right now. And a lot of them taking loans, right, to buy miners, buy equipment, to stay alive, pay their bills, right, even right now, sometimes on the small ones. So this is, while 500 million might not be too much or that much, considering how much money and time and energy is put into mining Bitcoin, still, this is huge. And this is a big win for the crypto ecosystem here, in my opinion. You notice that I pulled up Cropper on the charts earlier. It's a new coin that I'm looking at. It's an AMM, automated money market. I'm looking at it because it's decent valuation at the moment. And with the uncertainty in the DeFi in the Solana ecosystem, I thought I'd look around at yield multipliers and things like that. And I thought that what Cropper was doing is a little bit more diversified than normal. They have these, it's a launch pad, plus it has NFTs, and they enhance the staking yield. It has a swap protocol and farming and pools. So that's why I pulled it up. More or less though, it doesn't seem like there's going to be much happening on Cropper in the immediate term. So just a quick explanation. And on their dashboard or the main page, they have a research section that I like to use from time to time. If you search some of the larger coins, they have some good fulfilled categories here on team, socials, and news and such. So if you're looking at the Cropper, category here on their team and socials, you have some interesting label outs here. Brett Harrison, this is not his actual Twitter though, so I'm not sure if he changed it since or this was just a mistake. But if you go to the actual Brett Harrison, it's different. But these are good. So it goes to Nick Carter and Sino and CMS. But curious position for Cropper right now. Interesting numbers and stats to look at. 500 million supply, not too bad. So crypto infrastructure continues to expand, seeing some zero knowledge proof systems and self-sovereign identities entering the market. I saw that early on in blockchain, but it's re-entering the ecosystem again. It basically encrypts your information and requires a different set of steps to uncover your identified or identification information. So at the moment, more or less NFTs, pretty steady volume. NaughtyCats, a project from founders of ABC, had some strong movement earlier. Saw floor as high as 0.4. I don't know, tend to not have extremely great luck with cat projects, especially on Solana. So we'll see how this one does. I'm definitely trading this one though. And like the community seemed pretty fun, and the Discord pretty positive. The founders are present and active. The Gazman, Tony Montana. Gazman runs the Hero DAO, ABC Hero DAO. Jumping into the Mango Discord here real quick. Non-stop interesting conversation in here. A lot of ideas being thrown back and forth. And let's take a look at what the DAO has presented to the exploiter. So here it is on the voting power and then what's supposed to happen. So these are amounts that were taken by the exploiter. Mango Upgrade Console is what's running this return endeavor. They're asking for the USDC to initially be sent to the upgraders of the upgrade console, and they're giving the exploiter a 12-hour window to deposit the rest of the funds. And if the exploiter does this as a show of good faith, then they will not pursue any criminal investigation or charges. You see the votes, obviously all yes. So yeah, number 2 draft here. So hopefully this has a good positive resolution. I think it'll be really good overall for Solana and DeFi and all in crypto in that regard. Have fun, trade safe, and see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.
be Buddha. The mind is able to extend and expand. This was the jungle.